What about radio? Because recently, I mean, Cure FM was, hot news.
Yeah, so we had 2 stabs at pirate radio. The first one was done here at Fiction, and was very much it wasn't designed to be purely a media exercise, but it ended up being just that because the transmitter didn't work properly, and we didn't go on air until we were unable to speak. Basically, no one actually wrote it down, but that was the problem. Because it was a good idea, and it hadn't really worked because we hadn't broadcast it to anyone. We took the idea away, and we redid it again a couple of weeks ago from a proper pirate station in North London, and it was brilliant. There was just us, the 5 of us, Bruno, Bill, and a couple of the people from the station, and we dragged in a few drinks, and we had an absolutely brilliant time for 6 hours. And we had a phone this time. We actually stole the mobile phone from Tim Pope's organising friend, the girl that deals with all these calls. And as we were doing the video, we took her phone, we didn't tell her, and we used it that night and gave out her number, and she's still getting calls. She's livid. She's had to change her number, I think, this week. But it's brilliant because we've got calls like from all over London, just everywhere, and the people that phoned in were genuinely excited by the idea of what we were doing, and the fact they could hear the album before it was out, before anyone else had heard it, and they were able to we all took it in turns to answer the phone, very strict democracy, and the whole night was just probably if the first one had actually worked, it probably wouldn't have worked, if you see what I mean, because there was so much media there. It was MTV and loads of press people that we were so taken up with looking right and it all sounding right and making sure that no one vomited on their own shoes that it probably wouldn't have made a very good radio show. But the second time, because we weren't able to be seen, we had Tim Pope there. That's the other notable addition to the cast. He acted as surrogate DJ for a lot of it, and it was just really good. It was it's certainly something we'll do again before Christmas. We're hoping to do a Christmas Cure FM on the same wavelength because it's very addictive. Right? I can see why you're doing it. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant feeling to knowing that you're actually whispering into people's ears and
very intimate.
Yeah, and playing them what you want them to hear. It's good. It's in a funny way, it's quite close to being in a concert sort of environment, but without, I suppose, the rush, but with it's got the same kind of intimacy that the best concerts have got.
What would you say is your favourite Cure track?
Ever?
Yeah.
Grief.
Mine's Catch.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I think it will always be Faith. Whatever we do, it'll always have to be that song. Just because it encapsulates an entire period of my youth. I went through 5 years really to get to the point where I sang that song, and well, even longer probably. And I'll never ever feel the same as that. I'll never reach that. I'll never feel as naive and as young and as, I don't know, feeling that anything could happen as I did the night that I sang that. So it sort of offers, in a perverse kind of way. I only listen to it about twice a year. I always listen to it on my birthday, and I usually listen to it on New Year's Eve, and so it retains that kind of a quality to it that I don't think we'll ever surpass. Although I think we've done far better songs, both musically and lyrically, and just emotionally, that there's nothing else that'll ever get past it. No, I mean, I'm shocked by it now. I never would have thought that we'd have kept going as long as we have. I'm glad that we have. And looking back, out of most of those recordings, in fact, virtually every single one, I'm pleased that we did it the way that we did. So it's sort of shocking in one way and not in another. It doesn't seem that long. It doesn't seem like we've been doing it long enough to have had 22 singles. It's like everything, I suppose. It's just like normal life. When you look back, if you start to think about the small things that you've done, and you realise that you have done an awful lot. But if you look back on what you've done in total, it doesn't seem like you've done very much. It doesn't seem like you've been around very long. I mean, I don't feel as old as I should. I often think that's probably because I've got such a bad memory that I've only actually lived about, well, that and drink and sleep. I've probably only lived for about 3 years anyway that I can remember. It's strange in a way I haven't done so many records because it does actually give a perspective to the group which we wouldn't otherwise have if we waited like 3 years between albums, I suppose, or longer, and still been around, as long as we have. There wouldn't be as great an impression of time. So when I sort of sit and think about it, if you went through each record and like gave me the title, I could sit here for like a day or more just thinking about each one and what went into it. So it has actually helped in a way to give a perspective to the group, because all the things that would otherwise have been lost are remembered in those records. It's quite nice, really, like little diaries. I suppose before we started making records, I'm glad that, even though it seemed like we were very young when we started, like as only 18 when the first record was done, we were playing and stuff like for 2 years before that, and there was no sort of ultimate goal. We were just doing it because what else could you do when you're still at school? I mean, you just wanted to be in a group. I knew that I wouldn't be a footballer by then. I was staying up too late. But it's really just knowing what you want to do. If you're going to do it, I mean, everyone says, I suppose, but even when you're young, you pretend that you don't want to do it seriously. But if you're in a group, you know that, I mean, it's a really brilliant thing to do. There's one side of it that's just, I mean, it's so stupid that it's good fun. And however hoe-faced everyone gets about it and how serious you want to be about it, there's a part of it that's just brilliant fun. But you have to, if you want to like keep it going, you have to sort of know what you want to do. Otherwise, you might think, well, we'll have 2 years of really good fun, and then I'll go off and do something else. And if you want to do that, it's fine. But I feel that I don't know, people are too enticed by the attractions of like being famous and all that goes with it, and they shouldn't be, because we weren't. I mean, I still can think of the things that outweigh being famous, like the bad things, that they're always far more in evidence than the good things. Apart from people like smiling at you and saying hello that don't know you, that's nice. But being able to have the economic freedom within a group to do what you want, which comes with, I suppose, being more well known, that's a good thing. But the actual thing about being famous and getting into clubs and seats in restaurants, it's nonsense. It's like, it's not a good reason to do something. And I just think that breathing space right at the beginning gave us the opportunity to think about. I mean, it certainly gave me the opportunity to think about what I actually wanted to do. And if I really wanted to do something seriously, I'd have to work very hard at it. I mean, not very hard, not like climbing up ladders, but I think, I don't know, there's a very strange picture painted nowadays of what it is to be in a group. The mythology of like, if you're, you flare bright and you flare short, and that's nonsense, because there's always the same old blackguards sitting behind desks, sort of raking it in and manipulating everyone. And it's what we've done is that we've gone round behind them. We've like come in through a different door and upset a lot of people, and I think it's really good. I think everyone should do it like we've done it. In fact, the only thing possibly that I would have changed would be just the sound of the very first album, and that's all. Everything else is, I mean, if we did it now, it'd be different. But as a history, it's as close to being how I would want it. If I'd been 17, if I was 17 now, and you said to me, what would you want The Cure to be like in 13, 14 years' time, it would be pretty close to what it is at the moment. So, and that is really, I mean, I've devoted a lot of time to making sure that it's ended up like this, but at the same time, it's only because I've done everything that I've wanted to do because I wanted to do it. I haven't ever listened to people. That's another thing. I think it was Peter Cook was saying on telly the other night that people always, that was John Cleese was saying, people always pretend, and he's talking about Monty Python, that you go somewhere and people always pretend they know what's right, particularly in show business, what's going to work and what isn't. And he's saying when they started, they had to completely disregard everyone because everyone was telling them what they were doing was wrong. It wouldn't make people laugh and it wouldn't work. And that's very much like when we were going through the period when we were doing 17 Seconds of Faith. Everyone around us was saying, the way you look and what, like the pop songs like Boys Don't Cry, and that you could be, top of the charts, just do this. But because we didn't want to, no one could ever see a long-term sort of future to it, and nor could I at the time. But I just knew that I wanted to do that with the group at that time. And I suppose we've either been very lucky or very clever, or sort of a mixture of the two, I think. But I think it really boils down to just people eventually appreciate that someone is doing something because they want to, and that's come through. It's taken quite a while. I mean, it took sort of about 4 or 5 years until people began to appreciate that what we were doing was just because we wanted to. We weren't trying to do something extremely clever and try and trick people. We were just doing just what came naturally. But it's